right, welcome to Christy Lee's DC Dispatch. You know, Trump is on a winning streak, boosting the economy, taming borders. We're covering all of that, keeping an eye on the economy, of course, because, you know, it's been a rough ride. But we have a cabinet meeting that's happening right now. Kara's going to be covering that. We are also having our investigations. Emerald's been on top of the investigation now into Chris Krebs and how that relates to election integrity. Emerald will have that later in these blocks. Allison is covering illegal immigration and the winning going on there. All that and more for Lindell TV's White House Live every day, where we have hours of live coverage coming straight from the Capitol. But first, here is what's coming out of the cabinet meeting so far. It's going on right now, and Trump is really hammering home that everybody that's seated at the table, they're working hard. It's a friendly environment, and we have some good news to report. So watch this.
We had a very good meeting. We're talking about a lot of different things. Consumer prices have actually dropped. There's very little inflation. Everybody predicted a lot of inflation, very little inflation. Energy costs are down. Interest rates are probably down. They scatter, but they're probably down. Prescription drug prices are even to down. We're doing very well. It's been amazing. We had a big day yesterday. There'll always be transition difficulty, but we had in history, it was the biggest day in history, the markets. So we're very, very happy with the way the country's running. We're trying to get the world to treat us fairly. This is something that should have been done 25 years ago, and it wasn't. Should have been done 40 years ago, and it wasn't. But no president was willing to take it on, but you had to. It's not sustainable. It wasn't sustainable.
Wasn't sustainable. No president would take it on, but he is taking it on. And we are going to be covering more. He mentioned the markets there. We're going to review what's been going on there in just a moment. But also just in this morning, the House finally approving a budget on Thursday, uncorking the filibuster skirting power. This is coming from Politico, of Republicans needing to build and enact President Donald Trump's dream bill, that big, beautiful bill along party lines this year. And Mike Johnson had a response to that. We want to go ahead and take that clip of Mike Johnson with this victory.
The U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate are going to do our job, and we are going to provide stability, and we are going to send this message to all of our allies and friends around the world and to our adversaries as well, that America is back and the America First agenda will be enacted. President Trump's promises will be fulfilled, and we're really excited that today we took a big step in getting that done. We'll continue to work together. Yeah.
Lots of big steps getting done right now. But meanwhile, almost every single Democrat, they just keep on walking backwards. In the House of Representatives, almost every single one just voting against a bill to require proof of U.S. citizenship before registering to vote in federal elections. Now, why would they all be on the same page about this? I just have no idea why they would not want to require a U.S. citizen proof. Maybe it's all that's coming out of DOJ, perhaps, and all those illegals given Social Security numbers. Maybe. I don't know. Now, like I said, quick check of the markets. What's happening right now? I see the Dow down about 1,400 points and the S&P down, NASDAQ down. We expected this. I've been watching all morning to what's going on in the markets. You know, it's expected. A lot of people are going to take profits because of yesterday's rally when the market rallies, you know, but if you don't like this roller coaster of up and down, make sure you have investments in other asset classes, as we've been advising you to do. You should make sure you have some tangible assets like gold. And lucky for you, we have MikeLindellGold.com. I was so excited. I just tripped over my words. MikeLindellGold.com. That's where it's at. MikeLindellGold.com. We have some special gifts for those that choose to look into that if you apply or qualify. And also oil. I mean, now has been never a better time to invest in oil because regulations are being removed. We see Trump's energy agenda going on. So you can go to ChristyOilBoom.com. That's ChristyOilBoom.com to make sure you can make a play there as well. You are making investments for your own finances, some good decisions there, as well as supporting our work here at Lindell TV to keep on bringing you the truth. All right, yesterday's spike, we touched upon that, likely due to Trump's announcement that reciprocal tariffs would be paused as a reward for coming to the table. All those countries that hurried and rushed to call him, start making those negotiations. I believe it was about 70 different countries coming to make those deals. As a reward, he is pausing for 90 days. He made that announcement on Truth, and all this while ramping up tariffs on China. So what we saw happen on this news is yesterday, the Dow Jones jumping more than 2,800 points and NASDAQ surging 10%, S&P skyrocketing. Yes, it's a bit different, looking a bit different right now in the stock markets, but it shows that there are some positive steps being made, and Trump reacted to that market spike. Here's how what he had to say about that yesterday.
You got the market seeing your brilliance.
Yeah, that's up almost 7 points. 2,500 points. Nobody's ever heard of it. It's got to be a record.
Amazing. Yeah. You make an announcement the next day. Yes, sir. Smart.
All right. And then Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff, pencil neck, as Trump likes to call him. I think he's now calling him watermelon head as well. He was so displeased with this market reaction. He was demanding an investigation. Watch.
How concerned are you with this market fluctuation? And are you concerned that there could be members of the White House that are benefiting from it?
Absolutely. I'm writing to the White House to demand who knew in advance that the president was going to once again flip-flop on tariffs, and are people cashing in? There is just all too much opportunity for people in the White House and the administration to be insider trading, and you can't put it past them for a minute. So we're going to try to find out.
There's a good chance they'll just ignore you, though, right? Should there be?
Wow. Adam Schiff talking about insider trading. Maybe he wants to ask his friends like Nancy Pelosi about insider trading. What a tool. Trump literally told people yesterday, we showed it to you yesterday, time to buy, how is that insider trading? The secret was out. Okay. Western Lensman said, after spending 2 days being furious that the market declined, Democrats are now furious that the market rebounded. And then you have certifiably insane Representative Judy Chu, who made that wild claim that Trump, his tariffs, what he's doing there are to sell Mar-a-Lago memberships. Don't believe me? You got to watch this.
My conclusion is that there's only one explanation for this: corruption. The Trump administration is now bragging that dozens of countries are approaching the White House ready to offer concessions and negotiate a reduction in Trump tariffs. This presents a completely unprecedented opportunity for corruption. If his tariffs are allowed by Congress and the courts to stand, then the president could unilaterally decide to remove or reduce tariffs on certain countries. With no transparency, a country could pay the president or his family money through memberships at Mar-a-Lago or payments through their various cryptocurrencies in exchange for a reduction in tariffs.
You know, Trump said it right when he had his informal State of the Union, if you will, address. They're never happy. They're never happy. If you need a reminder, watch this clip.
This is my 5th such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do.
And, some, they're just, not only are they not happy, they're breaking down in tears, literally. Here's just a short montage of George Conway, no friend of Trump, just crying at Trump's success. Watch.
I'm going to get moist-eyed here, big him. Or whatever it is that these people seem to be. And I went so far, actually, yesterday.
And that clip goes on, but we don't have time for the tears. So we're going to drive forward here. Dems, they have no sense of humor either. What a miserable existence. No sense of humor, in tears, can never celebrate successes. But you know who has a sense of humor? Our side, and especially Senator Kennedy. Here's his dig at AOC.
What do you think of the new leadership, Jasmine, AOC, and Bernie?
I consider Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez to be the leader of the Democratic Party. She's entitled to her opinion. I'm entitled to mine. As I've said about her before, I think she's the reason there are directions on a shampoo bottle. And our plan for dealing
You
with
didn't
her,
plan that out. We got to hurry.
our plan for dealing with her is called Operation Let Her Speak.
Levity, you gotta love it. We need the levity as we go through all of these major changes and try to remain positive. Going back to China, who were still trying to budge in these negotiations and the tariffs, Howard Lutnick is confident that China will buckle, and I believe we have a video there that we can go to.
Well, I think China chose the path of going against Donald Trump. I mean, he said, don't retaliate. If you retaliate, then you're going to feel my wrath. And that's what happened. They retaliated. So then Donald Trump came back, and then they went back, and Donald Trump comes back again. You know, the fact is either China's going to come to the table and make the right deal with Donald Trump, or they're not. And they are. I mean, remember, China has a $295 billion trade deficit with us, but they also go through all these other countries. They go through Vietnam, they go through Thailand, they go through Malaysia. These were all sort of like tariff runarounds where they go to Vietnam and then go to America. So, you know, if you add that all up, it's just under $1 trillion that China sells to us, more than net we sell to them. And that is just not sustainable. The president knows it. The president is calling it out. And either China comes to the table with Donald Trump or they don't. But let's be clear, we are their biggest client by far, by far, by far. The American consumer buys everything from China. They can't afford to be without us. And that's where we are today.
So there's your fundamentals. China will have to buckle. They can't afford it not to, especially from words there out of Howard Lutnick. So, so much good news to report. We had at the top that Trump had cleared that big, beautiful bill hurdle in getting those tax cuts. Brought that to you at the beginning of the show. But again, with the crocodile tears and those that just want to never celebrate anything, Stephen Horsford is now saying that, Representative Stephen Horsford is saying that tax cuts are going to screw America. Watch.
The Speaker is rushing to the floor to pass a budget reconciliation to screw America by passing the biggest tax cut in history on the backs of the American people? WTF!
WTF? Yeah, exactly. What? Tax cuts? You giving me a tax break is going to screw me? I don't get it. These people are insane. Reality, things are looking up. Rapid Response had this to say: first drop in consumer prices in 3 years, a 2.4% decrease in energy prices, a 6.3% decrease in gas prices, 1.4% growth in real average hourly earnings, 2% decrease in prescription drug prices, continued slowing of egg prices. And man, I love eggs. So don't make me pay more for them. They're so good for you. They taste so good, and you can have them in so many different ways. America is back. Inflation is not. Now, from trending politics, like I said, prices, inflation fall further than expected, and major win for Trump. Winning, winning, winning. All right. Speaking of winning, Allison's always winning. She's always working hard out there. We want to go to Allison Steinberg, who has been graciously standing by as I go through all this financial stuff to speak to us about more winning. Allison, there's just so much winning.
There is so much winning, and I love to see it. My favorite part of that clip you just played in the hearing room was the pan. No one there, and he's getting so angry. I love it. But yes, there is a lot of winning on, and it makes me so happy to report on it. Primarily now, my focus in the last couple of days has been on the immigration. We just heard that the acting head of the IRS has resigned because she is so woke that she feels the need to protect the identities of the illegal aliens who, have been integrated into our system. ICE is, going through, doing their job, trying to get rid of these criminal alien organizations that were let in under the Biden regime. And I guess, it just breaks her poor little heart to release the names and the information pertaining to these individuals. So she had to leave and resign over this issue. So while it's absurd, I guess it's a win for us because goodbye. Let's replace her with someone who's actually capable and can do the job and, is going to work on behalf of the American people, not illegal aliens that should not be in our country. It's just amazing that anyone can be fighting so hard on behalf of these criminals that shouldn't be here. I just went to this DHS hearing the other day that Secretary Noem hosted, and it was in honor of the families that are victims of alien crimes and they've had loved ones that they've lost because of these criminals who have unfortunately killed them. And it really makes you think, it's so sad. So many people's lives have been so horribly impacted by these criminals. And then you still have woke radical liberals fighting on behalf of them. It makes no sense. And it quite frankly makes me really sick.
Yeah, but I don't know if you caught the top of the show that, another vote that came out today is, of course, the Democrats being united in not requiring proof of citizenship when it comes to voting. And that it all goes together. I mean, because I know that you've been on top of the latest when it comes to Social Security numbers issued to aliens. What can you tell me there?
Yeah, so almost 4 million Social Security numbers issued to illegal aliens. And I find this topic fascinating, A, because it impacts every American citizen, but B, because the liberal mainstream media has been so successful in instilling fear in the small amount of viewers that they still have remaining, that, people, members of my own family come to me and they say, how can you support Trump? He's going to take away our Social Security. Hold on, let's rewind here. How is he going to take away our Social Security? First off, he's reassuring us multiple times that he's not going to. But second of all, we have Elon Musk and the Doge team uncovering the fact that there have been illegal aliens taking your Social Security. They are the ones who are being prioritized above the average American who's paid into this system for so long. You should be more concerned about the aliens who have gotten Social Security instead of you not getting it. I mean, Trump is here to protect it and root out the corruption that has infiltrated for the last 4 years. So 4 million roughly in illegals who have received Social Security. And thankfully, Elon Musk and Doge uncovered this. I hope they continue digging on this issue because, we got to protect the citizens. But this is just, it should make everyone very angry that this was even happening in the first place.
I don't know how we break this hypnosis, Allison, because like you said, you have family members. Oh, they're going to take me. It's so obvious, a parrot of what they're being programmed with, being told over and over again. When meanwhile, you're uncovering and other alternative media is trying to make it clear that the danger to Social Security is the illegals that Trump is actually doing something about. And you did cover that Kristi Noem presser with the angel moms. And so we have to worry about not only them trying to vote in the elections, but also murdering our loved ones, crime, and also just this drug problem that we continue to have. And it sounds like the FBI is making some headway there.
Yes, absolutely. It does seem as though the FBI is on top of the horrible drug problem that has also resulted from, this criminal activity, really. And it's good to see. I think we have a clip actually from Kash Patel on the latest seizure that they made, if we want to roll that, and then come right back.
General Bondi, we're here today because of your dedicated leadership to safeguard American lives, because you have the courage to follow President Trump's courage to put our children first and to make sure that the narco traffickers, and make no mistake, this administration has labeled them foreign terrorist organizations because that's what they are. There is no lethal force on planet Earth that is responsible for an overdose death of an American citizen every 7 minutes, more so than these federal terrorist organizations, foreign terrorist organizations. We are humbled to be a part of this Department of Justice, and we are going to continue to safeguard our streets. This is what it looks like when the United States whole-of-government approach brings every resource to bear, from the Department of Defense and the United States Coast Guard, from HSI, from FBI, from DEA, and so many others. They are going to get all the drugs off the streets, off the markets, and as Attorney General Bondi said, we are going to lock them up. They are no longer going to be free to roam. We are going to dismantle the next man up theory that has been breeding in these Mexican cartels for generations. No more. We are here today because of your brave work. the men and women of the FBI that I lead, I'm humbled and honored to be here in South Florida, where I spent so much of my career before I moved to Washington, D.C. And looking around, I'm awe-inspired by the fact that when you take the rules and regulations that blockaded these brave men and women of law enforcement and military, and you unshackle them, then you should look at this seizure, and you should see how much it multiplies, and see how many children, and how many young adults, and how many adults' lives that we have just saved. They did it. We're fortunate to be their leaders. We're humbled to be here. And you will see this happen across the country, because this is not a one-off for General Bondi. She has made this a mission priority, and the FBI will follow in every corner of this country and every square centimeter of this planet to eradicate the foreign terrorist organization that are killing American citizens. They will be held accountable. We will take preventive measures, and we will scour the ends of the earth to find every single one of them.
I think that's so important. They really have so much work to do, and you know, the whole government approach is really crucial here, because let's not forget, it was about 15 million estimated that we know of illegals that came through that wide open border of Joe Biden. So there is a lot of work to be done. So it is always a good day when we see a massive victory like this. I just would like to say, on the note of Kash Patel, he did mention he was going to make a museum out of the FBI headquarters on day one. Still have yet to see that happen, but in the meantime, this is pretty good work. So we'll stay tuned on the FBI museum.
I'm glad you brought that up, Allison, because we are celebrating the winning, but we do need to hold feet to the fire of the promises that were made and that we still haven't seen. We are still waiting Epstein files. We are still awaiting arrests being made. And we do need to, I know Kash Patel was once very passionate about the pipe bomber and figuring out what happened there, what cover up happened there. Still waiting on that too, but let's try and keep up the hope, and hopefully we'll see some action on those fronts, because there's plenty of action for you and I to cover that clogs up the news system as it is. Now, you touched upon earlier about the illegal aliens receiving the Social Security numbers, how that affects voting, how that could affect benefits. New York Post had an article this morning that I didn't make it into my show, but I'll tell you right now that Doge has discovered that fake people, not just illegal aliens, but fake people are actually receiving benefits. It says 24,500 people over 115 years old receive benefits. 28,000 people between 1 and 5 years old claiming 254 million in benefits. And even people in the future are claiming benefits, people that haven't even been born yet. So it's what's interesting is the messaging. We were told over and over again when these discoveries were made, oh, these birth dates and they're just in the system. It doesn't mean they're getting benefits. But now, according to this report, here's some solid proof that some of these people were getting these benefits to the tune of millions and millions of dollars.
I guess these are the same people that, you know, helped put Joe Biden into office in the 2020 election. I mean, this is just, it's insane. Where does it end? I mean, it's just so sad. You know, we come with the facts. Every time there's a press briefing here in the briefing room behind me, Caroline Levitt always comes with the facts printed out in hand, yet the liberal lamestream media still manages to manipulate the truth and the facts. Something happens here, they tell you the exact opposite. So I don't know what more it's going to take for the mainstream media viewer to realize that this is, you know, only screwing them over ultimately. I mean, they're the ones who are, you know, at risk of, you know, being impacted negatively by this, no one else but them. So it would really be wonderful if they could wake up to the reality that, you know, the fact that they are embracing this and allowing this type of criminal activity to ensue within the government, or at least, you know, we're allowing this, is only detrimental to themselves. It takes away from their own benefits and their futures and their retirement. So, yeah, I mean, it's very sad and really shocking, I guess, though it shouldn't be with all of the corruption that, you know, there's imaginary people involved in this system too. Imagine that.
Now, since you mentioned it, the legacy media and how they spin everything, I did want to get your take on, I'm going to jump ahead down in my rundown all the way to the bottom, where I wanted to get your take on the latest when it comes to the Associated Press, their access to the Trump White House. A judge had ordered the Trump White House, and I believe it was a Trump appointed judge ordered the White House to restore the Associated Press access. Did you have any major feelings on that one way or another?
Well, I guess I would have to assume this is a liberal activist judge who, wants to continue to perpetuate their fake news. That's the only way that they can, survive in today's day and age, especially when the truth is prevailing and people want to hear the truth from independent journalists. There's, the fake news is at an all-time low with viewership now. So, I think it was made clear they didn't want to participate in the rules that were very clearly laid out. They, insisted on calling the Gulf of America the Gulf of Mexico. And if you want to disrespect the president like that, then you should have to face the consequences. But of course, we have these activist judges who, will do anything and everything they can to combat the president and his, wishes for the country. As we've seen time and time again, they're actively working against the executive orders that he's signing. So it's disappointing to see. I'm all for free speech here. I think everyone should have the right to, speak freely. It is our First Amendment and the beauty of living in America. But if you can't tell the truth and your whole career is based on a lie and deceiving innocent people, then I don't know. I can't really say I'm too thrilled about it.
Yeah, Allison. I mean, I think we, as journalists ourselves, we have to toe a fine line here, because ultimately, free press is so important, even to those who news or a current administration doesn't like, because it can go both ways. So what's interesting about this is that this was, I believe, a Trump appointed judge that went ahead and restored access. And I do think that's a good thing, but it's interesting that there are caveats. It says this injunction does not limit the various permissible reasons the government may have for excluding journalists from limited access events. So it still kind of gives some power there. Like if there's limited access, then, they don't have to include the Associated Press. And so there is some play there. Ultimately, I don't think that they should be blocked altogether, because again, the precedent there is too dangerous. But yeah, it was interesting to see how that would ultimately ended up playing out. I just have a couple more minutes with you. I know you're working on so much right now. Bless your heart. Is there anything else that you wanted to update us on? What about that fencing around the Capitol?
Well, there are rumors swirling that there is fencing up around the Capitol. I haven't actually gone to see it for myself, though. That is on my agenda for tomorrow, so I will give you an update then when I see it for myself. But sources have told me that there is fencing that's gone up around the Capitol. This is allegedly in response to the uptick in, ICE and our security here in America to combat the criminal terrorist organizations that have infiltrated the country. As we work tirelessly to rid them from the nation, there has been a massive uptick in violence against officers and agents. So that is very scary. I guess the Capitol is doing what they can now to protect against any further violence there. But that was made clear yesterday in that DHS presser that I attended with Secretary Noem. She did mention that the uptick in violence is concerning, but they are working to combat that, obviously. And then with that, too, it was just mentioned yesterday from President Trump and his administration that they plan to potentially do drone strikes on Mexican cartels, which I think would be great. I mean, as he's mentioned, now criminals are going to El Salvador to serve time in prison, which I think is really scaring even the worst, most hardened criminals here in America. No one wants to go to El Salvador. So if we need to keep instilling that fear by potentially weighing some drone strikes on these cartels, then so be it. We got to do what we got to do to keep our country safe and make America safe again. So we'll see what happens there. I'll stay updated on that story, but that is the latest as of now.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your hard work, Allison. I know you are going to continue to be on this beat today, in particular on what we're doing about illegal immigration. And so thank you for your work, and we'll be seeing you again shortly.
Yes. Thank you so much, Christy Lee.
Yes. So, like I said, Allison is working on that and how sanctuary cities are protecting criminals and how so much. New Jersey has ordered local police to stop working with ICE, but she'll have how the Trump administration is also able to combat that concerning his executive orders. We've got Emerald continuing to dig in on this investigation with Chris Krebs of CISA and his early report that 2020 was the safest and most secure election. Well, an investigation's underway, and Emerald's been on top of it from the beginning, so she's going to have more on that coming up here shortly in her block there. But keep it right here. We have so much more to bring you. Kara's in that cabinet meeting right now. More will come out of that, I'm sure. And as far as this evening, if you would like to tune into another edition of Get Free with Christy Lee, I have Ben Berkwam. He's going to give me his angle on the border. He's been watching that since the beginning, and also bring it back to personal responsibility. I know a lot of you are frustrated, as we touched upon earlier in the show, with some of the lack of action on things, but you always have control over your own actions. And so we'll cover that tonight, this evening on Get Free with Christy Lee at 9 p.m. Eastern as well. Well, thanks for watching. This has been Christy Lee's DC Dispatch. We got to keep it moving along with Lindell's White House live coverage for the next several hours. So thanks for watching.